Shabbat Shalom. My lifespan is so far about the lifespan of Roe v. Wade. I was born in the 1970s, soon after the Supreme Court recognized abortion rights. Since Roe was overturned last year, I have studied, reflected, and drastically changed the way I understand abortion in Jewish thought. A foremost Talmud scholar at our seminary, Hebrew Union College, Rabbi Dr. Rachel Adler, insists that Jewish text is not the only source of Jewish law. Jewish law requires an understanding of stories. An uncritical read of the text suppresses the voice of the marginalized. So tonight I begin with stories from an organization called We Testify, dedicated to increasing the spectrum of abortion storytellers in the public sphere and shifting the way the media understands their context and complexity. We Testify elevates voices of abortion storytellers, particularly those of color, those from rural and conservative communities, those who are queer identified, those with varying abilities and citizenship statuses, and those who needed support when navigating barriers while accessing abortion care. In the words of Dr. Valerie Peterson of Texas, this story takes place before Texas banned abortion. My son was diagnosed with a fetal anomaly that was 100% incompatible with life. I lived in Texas, where the laws at the time prevented me from getting the abortion care that I needed at the time that I wanted it. There was a 3 to 4 week waiting list, as well as a 3 to 4 day process. The laws had such a profound impact on my emotional health that I ended up traveling to Florida, where I was able to get the abortion done within 48 hours of the diagnosis. In the words of Kazembe Jackson of Atlanta, I was a junior in college when I had my abortion. After surviving a rape that ended in pregnancy, my family was supportive of my decision because of the circumstances surrounding the pregnancy. I've committed to making sure all people can have a good experience having an abortion, regardless of their reason, and to lift up the voices of other Black trans men who have had abortions and want to give birth. In the words of Ashley Channel of Cleveland, it was an unplanned pregnancy with someone I didn't see myself with for a long-term relationship. The unplanned pregnancy gave me the opportunity to really think about the path I wanted my life to take and the life I want to give my future children. When it comes to these stories, I appreciate their truth and power, and I want to be careful to clarify women and pregnant people do not earn their right to an abortion because their story inspires empathy. They have the right. If only our government would recognize they have the right, the agency to make choices for their own bodies, no matter their reason, no matter their story. Tonight, the National Council of Jewish Women, a partner of our Reform movement, identifies this Shabbat to honor reproductive rights, and congregations around the nation join us in marking it. Why this week? What they call Repro Shabbat, falls tonight because of where we are in Jewish time. As our wonderful adult B'nai Mitzvah class knows well, this week's Torah portion is Parshat Mishpatim. It describes a legal case where a woman gets caught in a physical altercation between two men, and as a result, she loses her pregnancy. The text concludes, damages for the loss will be in an amount less than damages would be for the death of a full-status human being. The fetus does not have the status of a person. From this, Jewish law establishes life begins not at fertilization, but at birth. Later Jewish law affirms that life begins at birth multiple times. For instance, when the pregnancy threatens the life of the pregnant person, the Talmud privileges that pregnant person's life over the potential life of the fetus. Life begins at birth, and the woman or pregnant person's life takes precedence over the fetus. These standards of Jewish law are critical. You've heard me preach them and seen me publish them. And I am finally realizing when it comes to abortion advocacy, I think those texts miss the point, the ikar, the essence of what is important. The point is agency, the right to make decisions about our own bodies. When I based my pro-choice case too heavily on Jewish texts that establish when life begins, I allowed the anti-choice movement to frame the conversation. By crafting an argument around a response to another group's position, I diverted our attention from contemporary Jewish principles, from the main point of agency. The very language, life of the mother, is problematic, not only because it excludes transgender people, but also because by even calling the pregnant person a mother, the language again allows the anti-choice movement to define my terms. A woman or a pregnant person is a parent if and when that pregnant person says so. So how do we reframe the conversation? Rabbi Danya Rottenberg teaches, a normalization of abortion as health care more deeply honors our choices over our own bodies. So tonight, I am turning away from the Jewish texts on abortion that I've taught in the past to offer one Jewish principle. Abortion care is health care, and we have a right to agency, the decisions we make about our own bodies. Ancient texts and contemporary sources, including voices of people who can potentially become pregnant, offer Jewish wisdom that lifts up not tradition's permission for abortion care, but full agency over one's own body. I have found a profound commentary that now serves as my ikar, my core text for abortion care. Rabbi Becky Silverstein, influenced by his experience as a trans man, brings together traditional sources on health and offers this teaching. The Talmud asks, what happens if someone is ill and cannot fast on Yom Kippur? The Talmud answers its own question, Lev yodea marat nafsho, the heart knows the bitterness of its soul. Who knows enough to make this health decision? The patient is actually the expert who should make this decision. The Talmudic text even says that nobody possesses more expertise on such a question than the sick person does. Later in the 11th century, our commentator Rashi teaches, the expertise of those who might contradict the individual is tantamount to nothing when compared to an individual's self-knowledge. In the 12th century, another commentator, Rabbi Tam, teaches Jewish tradition trusts an individual's knowledge of their own body, even when they are not in life-threatening danger. Self-knowledge. The heart knows the bitterness of its soul. These are the abortion care texts for our day. Called to the principle of agency from our tradition and from its teachers, and compelled by the stories of today's struggles of pregnant people, I offer this prayer, passages from the words of contemporary Rabbi Stephanie Crawley. A blessing for those who have had or aided an abortion. Mishaberach imotenu, God of our mothers. Bless these brave ones who stand before you. Be with them now, God of Rachel, who suffered and suffered for a child and then died while giving birth. Ensure that no one is forced into that same reality. Be with them now, God of Dinah. Do not abandon us when we have had our bodies stolen from us through violence and subjugation. Be with them now, God of Yocheved, mother of Moses. Help us all maintain the ability to bring children into the world only when we want to, only when we've decided that the world is right. Be with them now, God of Hannah, who thought she only had worth because of her womb. Teach us all to see our value in our wholeness. Be with them now. Bless their holy bodies and bless their decisions, the ones they fought to make possible, and the ones made in the embrace of freedom. May they always know agency and dignity and love. May this community never fail to rise in support and be with those who stand beside them in courage, who lend their voices and their funds, who drive to clinics and accompany them inside, who shout over protesters, who ensure care and safety. Help us create systems of justice that serve every person, that center the souls that belong to bodies that others seek to ban. Help us build a new, just world, a world birthed of freedom and care. Amen.